meie siit igatahes kuuleme sind, Hendrik. Väga tore oli sinu etteaste siin terve tund. Publik, kuidas teile meeldib? Teeme aplausi Hendrikule.
No ma võib-olla jätkaks hoopis selliselt, et Hendrik, et kuna sul nüüd tööpäev saab õige pea läbi, et ma olen kuulnud, et sa pidid siin ka öösiti tegema päris palju tööd. Et võib-olla sa natukene tahad siin rääkida, et jutud käivad, et sa olla siin natukene seadusega pahuksis olnud, läinud ööl. Et kas sa natukene tahad rahvale sellest rääkida?
Ma võin nii palju avada, et homme on meie jaoks tulemas väga oluline võistlus, meeste jälitus ja ma võib-olla rohkem detaili rääks, ma ütlen nii palju, et ma tean, kus norralased ööbivad.
Et lihtsalt jutud käivad jah, et seaduse silm ikkagi olla natukene nahutanud siin.
Ma tahaks eestlastele ikka suuremat koduväljaku eelist.
No, oled päris kidakeelne, aga lähme teise teema juurde, et varased fännid nägid siin hommikul sind lausa suuskadega metsa vahel. Räägi, mis värk sellega on, kas oled järgmise aasta MM-iks valmistuma hakanud?
Ma olin täna rajal jah, et selles mõttes olin seal sportlaste vahel ja ütleme niimoodi, et tegin pika ringi, et kui ära tulin, siis küsisin palju sõitsin ja siis teised ütlesid mulle, et tuli napilt kilomeeter. Et olin päris kaua jah rajal, aitäh teile.
Okay. 095.
Should be good, huh? Может, сейчас не хватило 10 грамм. Тренер тоже сказал, что...
60 läheb Otepäässe, jaa. kollane. 62.
Ja täna, nagu ka eile, sportlaste nimistu on väga-väga pikk, 104 nime naissportlast ja täna siis stardiprotokollis.
Kui paljudest riikidest meil osavõtjaid siia tulnud on, so here's spectators, Kenya by that track.
Kui suusa külm numbri alt 11, number 37 on Johanna Tanijärv, 38 Regina Ermits, nii numbri all 92 Gretel Kaljumäe. Nii et meil on vaja see lisamängijad siia väljakule tuua ning Eesti tüdrukutele toeks olla.
No Maur, räägi sina. Eile ikkagi suur vägev spordipidu teiega koos, hea publikumiga, nagu on klassikud öelnud. Et seda kõike vähemalt pensi lampides.
Australia! No. What about Austria? Österreich. Haben wir. Leute aus Österreich hier.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the Tevandi Sports Centre here in Otepää for the women's 7.5 kilometre sprint competition. The second to last of this season, of course with Oslo home and call coming just after. But first of all, we have 3 times around this 2.5 kilometre loop. Height difference of 39 metres and a maximum climb of 30. Grueling, steep, and all done through very slushy conditions. The athletes today will be coming or going through the challenging conditions, which are 12 degrees Celsius now, the air temperature, extremely warm, and of course that having the effect of melting the top layers of snow. But I suspect many of these athletes would have it this way far more so than yesterday's rainfall, which saw the melting of the track. And the dirty snow making for an additional challenge for the wax technicians. to repel the dirt, to prepare the skis, and to find the right structures to tackle the conditions. Now, Olena Horodna will be the first to get underway for Ukraine, wearing bib number 1 in ahead of the Olympic bronze medalist Hristova in the individual, of course, in Antolz. And she is in good company up at the front with Fichtner of Germany, who promises to do something special after her individual 5th place. The best result she's ever had, of course, in the mass start in Kontiolahti was 4th. So in good form, but much of that comes from exceptional shooting. Further down the order now, we have Knotten wearing bib number 40, the Norwegian, who has Elvira Öberg on her case, the gold and silver medalist from Kontiolahti in the individual, then the mass start. Justine Breza-Boucher consistently skiing very quick for France, wearing bib number 50, 10th on the overall World Cup. And although she's almost always at the very top in terms of ski speed, she does struggle to get the targets down. The last of our red bib starters, of course, we have wearing bib number 66, Vabornikova, the mass start, bronze medalist in Antolz. Perhaps as big a surprise, a bronze medalist, as Hristova in the individual. But these conditions today are dramatic, they're challenging, and it will likely favor the athletes who start soonest. Further down the order, Shauna Pendry wearing bib number 103. She is in behind Klemencic, but with good company from Blidela wearing bib number 88 for Latvia. One to look out for, as well as Volfa wearing bib number 72. Here's Fichtner. Eva Kumova, her best result, 5th in Hochfilzen in 2016-17 World Championships. And the win flags, although those are not the win flags per se, are blustering and blowing, meaning that it will be challenging on the shooting range today here in Otepää. Of course, the athletes come downhill into the shooting range here and therefore have something of a recovery leading up to the shooting. But of course, the wind conditions pale in insignificance relative to the challenge of overcoming the psychological demands of shooting. Once you've acquired the skill, there is a secondary skill, which is learning how to control the thoughts that come into the minds of these athletes as they try and compose themselves. The rifle stand housing the spare rifles should anyone have an issue, as Isaac Leknes-Frey did in the mass start on the World Cup in Kontiolahti. And now preparing to get underway, Olena Horodna. The 21-year-old, born in Lviv, and now the first to get underway. Well, now it has begun, the women's 7.5 kilometer sprint. Horodna, the first to get underway for Ukraine. In these warm, spring-like conditions, the wind is blowing, the sun is out, and the challenge is all ahead of these athletes, and Hristova knows that all too well. The Olympic bronze medalist now about to get started, chasing down the Ukrainian. Hristova now underway. Exceptional form carried on to Kontiolahti with an 8th place there. Only one penalty in the individual. Hristova really is a talent. 22 years of age. will be looking to climb up the order year upon year. On the other end of the scale, Ekaterina Avakumova, now of Korea, about to get started. 35 years of age. She raced at the Winter Olympic Games in Antolz. Her best finishing position in the pursuit, 55th on that occasion. But her best result ever, 5th in the individual at the World Championships in 2017 in Hochfilzen. Well, Fichtner really is doing fantastic with a 5th place in Kontiolahti in the individual, bettered by a 4th place in the mass start. She really is in great form, particularly behind the rifle. And the fans have gathered from Germany to watch Fichtner as she tries to make it yet another race climbing higher up the order. And she will be very close to the podium if she manages that. Lucy Anderson now for USA. 25 years of age. And she gets started. Will hopefully be benefiting from these nice early conditions. At least early or nice relative to how the conditions will for sure evolve as the athletes go through it. 104 starters in total. And Lena Repinch of Slovenia is the next of that 104 strong. The Slovenia now underway, chasing down the American. With an 83% hit rate in prone and 77 in stand. She isn't about the average in the field in terms of ski speed. As the other athletes are getting prepared in behind the advertisement boards. Anna de Besch, now of Denmark. Formerly competing for Norway at the Youth Junior World Championships. De Besch claiming a gold medal in Brezno, Orzably, and that was in 2019 in the relay competition, and then changing to compete for Denmark. Tribete, she was in the mass start in Kontiolahti. She finished 30th, wearing bib 27, missing 4 targets. So although right at the back, an exceptional achievement nevertheless to get into a mass start competition. A real privilege that few have the opportunity to enjoy. Anastasia Tolmasheva now of Romania. 100 World Cup starts. The Romanian has experience. She competed at the European Championships, hit all the targets in this discipline, the sprint, finishing 50th. Now, Laura Hristova with the fastest time. She, of course, wears bib number 2, so early days, but in ahead of Horodna of Ukraine. Carrara now underway for Italy, the first of the Italians to get started today. And Carrara, of course, a home Olympic Games, but the shooting didn't quite go to plan there for her, missing 2 in the sprint. But listen to that roar from the crowd. Susan Kulm now needs to get used to that. For every single shot that she fires, this audience will cheer, and for every single miss, they will sigh. Now, Kulm gets started. Punchy, dynamic, fitting, considering the crowd have all eyes on her. Marlene Fichtner now setting a good time against Hristova's time of Bulgaria. And that does have good implications for Fichtner's form. And And now at the 1.2 kilometer mark, Anderson has set a very, very quick time for USA. 6.5 seconds ahead of Fichtner. As we can see, Anika Kozica of Croatia, wearing bib number 13. She gets through the start gates, now underway. And we know that Hristova, although 9.7 seconds in the lead, she's 6.8 seconds down on Anderson at the 1.2K mark. So it appears, going conservatively at this stage in the game, Lena Heike Gross now of Switzerland. And now Heike Gross gets started, bib 14. An advantage of the early start. We've seen her at the top of the podium before, but her form just a little bit off this season. Of course, that victory coming from the mass start in 2024. That same season, she had exceptional performances. 5 podiums. But now we take a look at Fichtner's time. 2.7 seconds in the lead. Opening a gap over herself and the Bulgarian, Hristova, who of course knows how to pace herself over the course of an individual. But Marlene Fichtner, the calamities of Novo Mesto, long in the past for her. But you can see now this flat entrance to the shooting range, which follows a nice long downhill section. So yes, the opportunity is to recover, but you can see the sun is changing, as it typically does. And the light, therefore, these athletes have to adapt, not just to the wind flags, but they need to be expecting changing light conditions. 11 kilometers an hour. Blustery, moving right up to 17 as Hristova has the discipline to pause and take a break, but perhaps not for long enough. The first shot going wide. Well, the wind back up to 18 kilometers an hour. It's very quick. And Marte Kraksak Johansson with an early starter advantage. Now, the Norwegian getting underway. A young talent with, of course, the possibility of doing great things. 27 years of age, to be precise. 7th, her best result. That came from the mass start in Kontiolahti. But she's also had a 7th in a sprint in Ruhpolding this season. Now, Fichtner adjusting her sights according to the wind, which is now down to 2 kilometers an hour. 15 kilometers an hour of change since just some moments ago. Absolutely fantastic, just as we'd expect from Fichtner. Excellent form, taking advantage of the stable wind conditions at the time she found herself on the mat. And now Marlene Fichtner takes the early lead of 15.5 seconds. Anderson, an excellent first lap on the skis, but now struggling with the shooting. 450 meters of penalty loop now with her 3 laps, of course, each adding up from 150 meters as Ingrid Landmark Tandrevold gets ready, and now she is off. Tandrevold was invited back into the Norwegian relay team, and she did a fantastic job letting the selectors know she wants back. And today I suspect Tandrevold will have an excellent performance. Her ski speed is there. We saw it in the individual, 3rd fastest on the skis. Hauser now for Austria, underway. Bib number 22, and many of the heavy hitters still to come behind. as Anna Debye of Denmark now comes in. Well, her time coming into the range was 29.3 seconds off the leading pace. Well, there's 4 clicks anti-clockwise, meaning she's adjusted the sight to the right halfway through the shoot. That takes discipline and control. And wow, excellent shooting there. Having the discipline to get all 5 targets down in wind conditions like those and making those adjustments is an impressive act of control. Michela Carrara now for Italy. 5.9 seconds off the pace of Anderson of USA, who we know missed 3. And of course, the format today, 1 prone shoot, 1 stand, 3 laps around the 2.5 kilometer loop. A great start for the Italian. And there it is, 5 out of 5. It was a controlled shoot, 31.8 seconds to get all the targets down. She finds herself 6.5 seconds slower than Horodna, but of course, Horodna down in 3rd place. So now Carrara in 2nd behind Fichtner. And Suzanne Kuhlm receiving the applause and the cheers. Excellent control, unperturbed by the vibrations and the sound of her home crowd cheering her on shot for shot. That cheering, something that the Norwegians and the Germans prepare for in training with sound effects and speakers. But Kuhlm now 6.4 seconds down off the lead time of Fichtner. Janina Hetty-Schwarz wearing bib number 28. Right in the middle of the blue seeded group as we turn our attention back to Tangevold out on the course, who is now a 1.5 second lead over Anderson and going, as we would expect, very well. Tangevold returning to form, and look at that control. Excellent discipline, excellent rhythm. Really using the upper body weight to collapse through a strong core and drive those poles back. As Kamila Zuk of Poland enters the shooting range with the equal 3rd fastest time with Marlene Fichtner, and Fichtner came out of the range in the lead. A shooting time of 26.6 seconds. That will be tough to match for Zuk of Poland. Well, there's your first miss. And she gets the last. A pause to get the last. But there's your perspective. That was 3 seconds slower than the German Marlene Fichtner, now on your screen. As we can see, the course still in good condition right now. Of course, it will be wet. 12 degrees of air temperature as Fichtner, 21.1 seconds in the lead. Of course, that time will be threatened, if not beaten, multiple times before this race is all said and done. Sonja Lehnermo of Finland now coming in with a great ski speed, the fastest of those who have been around who have got through the shooting range with less than 2 penalties. Anderson, of course, with 3. But Lehnermo starting with a miss, her hands open out. And now this does not look comfortable for the Finn, who with 3 misses already can count herself out of the picture for a top 50 today. She'll be lucky to make it into the pursuit, which of course only the top 60 will manage. Carrara now with the lead, skiing faster than Fichtner, the Italian now at the 3.7 kilometer mark, gaining 5.5 seconds on the German. And the rest. As we see Hristova now, 9 out of 10. Excellent fast shooting in the stand. Getting all the targets down. Hristova in 26.1 seconds. She was 18 seconds down on Fichtner's time as Fichtner is coming to the range, but Hristova now setting the fastest time as we turn our attention to Marlene Fichtner of Germany. Can she get 10 out of 10 today? She pauses while the wind increases its intensity. And it's 10 out of 10 for Marlene Fichtner as we turn our attention to Sverre Roysland, her coach, who's returned after the positive news about his health. But Fichtner going extremely well now. Tandrevold coming in for Norway. You can see the wind in her hair, struggling with a bit of bad luck there and those wind conditions. But Marlene Fichtner now with a lead of 15.6 seconds. Hauser for Austria now coming in, and she is met with very changeable wind conditions. It was 16 kilometers an hour, it was pointing left, and now it's pointing towards Hauser. Down to 6, up to 11. These are tricky conditions to shoot in. And Hauser managing it masterfully. Excellent shooting from her. But way off the pace, 20.7 seconds, her ski speed down on Tandrevold's time. But of course, Tandrevold setting the fastest time into the range by 10 seconds over Anderson of USA. Now, Lea Meyer of Switzerland. .8 seconds to get the first shot. She makes 2 clicks adjustment to the left, and then she makes a 1-click adjustment to the right. Not really demonstrating how these wind conditions are changing so much. And that double ejection, meaning she had to load in a spare round manually. She's going really well on the skis as Caroline Offigstad Knotten of Norway gets started wearing bib number 40. She is the last of the blue bibs. And the first of the red, of course, comes from Elvira Öberg. Michela Carrara now of Italy. She had a chance to get all 10 targets down, but unfortunately struggling. Choosing to shoot her stand right at the back end of the range behind the platforms and walls that block the wind somewhat. Tannheimer now of Germany with 2 misses. 150 meters penalty loop for every miss. That's 300 meters. Now 450 for the German. Susanne Kulm, listen to that applause. Wow, 10 out of 10 on home snow for the Estonian. Susan Kulm has done it, the perfect hit rate, and now is in with a chance of a very good result. Kulm's best result, it was in an individual. It was 12th in Ruhpolding last season. She's had a 13th in a sprint, but today with wind conditions like these, that's a very good time for Kulm of Estonia. She's in the lead. Nadia Moser now with one mistake on the day. And the order is changing. After chute number 1, we have Bendica of Latvia, who always skis very well, but struggles on the range. She's gone 5 for 5 in prone as Hannah Öberg gets prepared to start. Second place in the individual last week in Kontiolahti. And now, Hannah Öberg starting just a minute behind Elvira Öberg. And she'll be chased by Amy Baserga and Dimitrenko. But Vanessa Voigt now down, settling into position in prone. The first of 2 visits to the range. Well, the average time there between shots was about 3.6 seconds. Roysland reporting on his Instagram after his successful operation, after having been diagnosed with testicular cancer, and very successful operation, or at least it appears now, and that is great news for the Norwegian coach working for Germany. My former coach, an absolute legend, and we wish him all the very best. Marlene Fichtner now. She started bib number 4. The track will be in its best conditions for her race than anybody else's, especially those who stand to challenge her time. But now you can see the cost of her slower skiing coming into play. Yes, 10 out of 10, but she finds herself in second place behind Hristova, who's missed a target. And now we can see Laura Hristova coming in towards the finish. 1 miss in prone, no misses in stand. The Bulgarian going well. The bronze medalist at the Olympic Winter Games now coming in to the finish line here in Otepää in a time of 23 minutes and 1 second. Marte Krokstad Johansson missing the first of her 5 shots in stand. Make that 2. The strategy to stand up at that far end of the range, of course, could have helped, but didn't allow her to get the perfect full house today. 8 out of 10. And now we saw Bendica of Latvia come into the shooting range, and I will keep you up to date on that. There she is at the top right of your screen now. The Latvian gets the first down as Marlene Fichtner is coming in towards the finish. She won't set the fastest time, but Bendica going very well on the skis now with her second miss. Third miss for Bendica. She's out of the picture. Fichtner now of Germany, 1.4 seconds down in second place. Once again, clean shooting, but a real challenge today on the range. And there's something about that challenge which Tandrevold loves. She's skiing well, and there is your miss in stand. And there's your second. The last shot coming so quickly, almost though she was trying to seize the opportunity between gusts of wind. But that will be 7 hits out of 10 for the Norwegian today. As Oceane Michelon, one of today's favorites. She's in great form. 6th fastest ski speed in the individual in Kontiolahti, and 3rd fastest ski speed behind Patovska Fialkova and Breza Boucher in the mass starting in Kontiolahti. Lisa Teresa Hauser for Austria now with 9 out of 10. Excellent shooting. But as I said before, the ski speed just isn't quite up to scratch. 20 seconds down on lap 2 once again, but Susan Kulm of Estonia, she knows this track better than most. And now with a 22.1 second lead over Hristova of Bulgaria. Well, she won't be pleased to know that Tangible, despite 3 penalty loops, is only 23 seconds behind the Estonian coming out of shoot number 2. Lotte Lee now with a miss. And it will only be 1 for the Belgium, as Anna Gandler comes in to contend with those wind flags. Just a depiction of what we can't see, the wind that affects these biathletes' stand positions so greatly. Naughton, she has a miss. And only 1. Gandler now fighting for a 10 out of 10. Misses the second to last shot, misses the last, and that will be 300 meters of penalty loop. Some 50 seconds of additional skiing added on to what could have been a 10 for 10. As now Elvira Öberg enters the range. Susan Kulm comes in towards the finish line. She will take the lead with a dramatic 23.3 seconds. Excellent performance for the local. But Elvira Öberg off the back of 2 podiums in the individual races. Now with the perfect start, controlled shooting, Elvira Öberg fighting once again for a top spot. Her post-Olympic form absolutely shining, and she has a lead now of 5.5 seconds. Hettisch Valtz now, 10 out of 10, is absolutely flying on the skis, and all the targets have gone down. It's a full house on the shooting range for the German. And she is going to really blow the previous time out of the water. The German, in terms of ski speed on lap 1, 13.3 seconds down on Hannah Öberg's fastest time, 20 seconds down on Tamheimer on lap 2, but now with a 31.5 second lead over Kulm. This is fast. And she has Julia Simon right in front of her to pull her along on this last lap. And we heard about the advantage seen yesterday by Sturleholm Lagride, who had the chance to ski on one of his laps with Emilia Jacquelat. And it gives you a sense of perspective of how you're performing. Hettisch Valtz, of course, with the 11th fastest ski speed in Kontiolahti in the individual. Vanessa Voigt now in for her first stand, but all of these seconds ticking by means that the leader, her teammate, Hettisch Valtz, has already left the range, having hit all 5. So Vanessa Voigt is out of the picture for a podium, but she has the mental wherewithal to compose herself and fight for every single shot. Well, this really is slow shooting now from Voigt and controlled, but Lou Jean Monod, the current leader in this discipline, the sprint, at the World Cup level, gets started now for France. Lou Jean Monod is underway. Her closest rival, Suvi Minkinen, has only 255 points. in the sprint discipline. As we see now, Heidenberg of Sweden coming in. She's had a penalty in the prone. But despite that, only 23.3 seconds down. There's another 150 meters for the Swedes, so that will be another penalty loop. Justine Breza-Boucher, always skiing fast. 3.1 seconds down on Hannah Öberg's time on lap 1. But Hannah Öberg missed 2. Breza-Boucher starts with a miss. And that's now 2, so matching that of Hannah Öberg, the Swede. Hannah Öberg, 4th overall in the sprint category with only 2 races left at this level. As we see Klemencic of Slovenia coming in, she won't take the lead. The Slovenian will be outside of Kulm's time, but in ahead of Hristova, now taking the 2nd position. Good performance, but we will see that bump down. A fantastic day for the Slovenian. But now Ingrid Landmark-Tandrevold coming in with 3 penalties on the day, but skiing like a rocket. As Michelin is shooting fast, top right of your screen, Tandrevold finds herself in 2nd, 9.2 seconds down on Kulm. And Michelin gets the perfect, 5 out of 5. Excellent performance from the Frenchwoman. Michelin claiming the silver medal at the Olympic Games with 10 out of 10 in the sprint discipline. 1.3 seconds down on Elvira Öberg's time. There's nothing in it at the top end now of this race. Hauser now, 90% hit rate to date. She's threatening for 3rd. Is she going to squeeze in ahead of Hristova? 4th place now for the Austrian, as we have a new fastest skier at the 9.1 kilometer mark. Simon of France is skiing extremely well, 0.1 seconds ahead of Hannah Öberg. But Vitozzi now for prone. Wow, that is lovely. 5 out of 5 for the Italian, 26.5 seconds. The Olympic gold medalist now in a good spot, although she is down in terms of ski speed. That's 4.2 seconds off the pace for Vitozzi. She hit 10 out of 10 in this discipline at the Olympic Winter Games, finishing 5th. Notten. 1 miss in prone. And a lovely rhythm. Solid shooting in stand, taking advantage of every lull of wind. And now Knotten in a good position with that 90%. Nina Hettich-Walz now of Germany, 10 out of 10, as we see Elvira Öberg at the top right of your screen with her 1st and 2nd miss. Well, she gets the last, but those misses will be costly. The Swede now will find herself down, as Hettich-Walz now crosses the line in 1st position, 44.4 seconds ahead of Kulm. So fast that the graphic didn't match her speed, but now we know that is a fantastic performance from the German. But she has Julia Simon very much on her case. Simon came into the shooting range down 0.3 seconds, and now she comes out of the shooting range with a massive lead. 11.5 seconds her advantage, and 12.8 seconds her advantage over Michelon. We know, of course, Elvira Öberg has had a miss, 2 misses in stand. Now, damage limitation for Hannah Öberg. Can the Swede get all 5 targets down? Well, she's skiing quicker than her closest competitor in the overall sprint total. Chirkaida soon into the range. And there she is at the top right of your screen. They are closely matched in this discipline. 22.6 seconds for Öberg to take the first shot. It's a miss though. The wind really reaping havoc. And now Chirkaida gets 4 out of 5, but is off the pace into the range. 12.6 seconds down on Hannah Öberg's time. As Lou Jean-Minot enters the range now. 11.2 seconds down. Is she pacing it, or are the conditions getting slower? Well, that remains to be seen. Well, she is 66 points clear on the overall fight for the Crystal Globe in sprints. A master in this discipline. Absolutely phenomenal control. 31.6 seconds now for Jean-Minot. And she's already down on her teammate, Julia Simon. Of course, Simon came out 20 seconds ahead of Jean-Minot, who's now in 6th place and finding herself performing slower on the skis than we are used to seeing from her. Suvi Minkinen, 2nd place in the Women's World Cup sprint score. Camille Benet with a miss at the top right of your screen. She makes that 2 misses. Now is Minkinen. She needs these targets to go down. And they do. Lovely start. 5 out of 5 for Minkinen. And once again, already outside the time of Julia Simon. But excellent shooting nevertheless. 21 seconds down, 8th position. And so many finding themselves back down after shoot number 1. Hette Schwartz in 5th, 17 seconds back, and there are 5 within 10 seconds. As Justine Prézat-Boucher now in for her first stand shoot of the day. Of course, there is only one, but Prézat-Boucher, a rocket on the skis, shooting fast. It's reaction shooting, but there's a miss. And now with 3 on the day, that's punishing. Oceane Michelon. Well, there is the first miss. Can she get away with only 1? She can. Now, Oceane Michelon gets out. 24 seconds to do the shoot. She was 2nd coming into the range. That's going to drop. Arne Kliev now of Norway. Shooting with lovely rhythm despite the changeable wind. Gets all 5 in a time of 29.4 seconds. And now, who can threaten? Well, Hettisch-Walz is still in the lead, but right behind her coming in to the shooting range, we have Lisa Vitozzi of Italy, who gets the first round down in 14 seconds. And it's 10 out of 10. Lisa Vitozzi absolutely flying through the targets. She is flying on the skis. The third fastest skier on that last lap. And now, with only 2.5 kilometers to go, could it be a win today for Vitozzi? Hettisch-Walz in a time of 15:20. That's a time we've got to beat, and it's going to be a significant lead. Vitozzi with 14.4 seconds in the green. Knotten now of Norway, coming through in second behind Hettisch-Walz. A great performance from her. Well, the fastest skier so far is Tandrevold over the course of the entire 7.5 kilometers. Many still yet to finish. Knotten in second, 11.4 seconds down, and Tannheimer in third. Anna Magnussen now coming into the range. She's down 13 seconds coming in. And ski speed alone into chute 1. As we see now, Giulia Simon, she's fighting to depose Vitozzi of Italy, top right of your screen. Lovely, fast shooting. Simon gets 10 out of 10. Look at that, 20.6 seconds to do it. And now, the Olympic gold medalist is flying, shooting accurate, shooting fast, skiing fast. It is the complete picture. Giulia Simon really is a class act, claiming the victory in the mass start. She's got a lead of 10.5 seconds over Vitozzi of Italy. Make that 10.3, but nevertheless, it's plenty. Elvira Öberg with 2 misses, down 30.1 seconds. Does well to get into third. But what a turnaround. And what a performance from Simon. Well, Simon, 21.4 seconds slower than Tannheimer. As we turn to Grottian now of Germany. And now, Arne Kliev, despite the 5 out of 5, 27.4 seconds behind. And as for Michelon of France at the 6.2 kilometer mark, 21.7 seconds behind Hettisch-Walz, not going to catch up with the German. As Hannah Öberg crosses, 1 minute and 9 seconds back, down in 12th. Certainly not the performance she was looking for. But now Vitozzi taking the lead at the 6.2 kilometer mark, 15 seconds ahead of Hettisch-Walz of Germany. Chirkaida missing the middle shot. And you can see the wind in her hair. And you can see the wind on the flags. Now Lou Jean Monod, the next to contend with these horrible shooting conditions. Simon went 10 for 10. Vitozzi went 10 for 10. Can Lou Jean Monod do the same? Yes, she can. Lou Jean Monod. Unbelievable performance on the shooting range. And now, the time behind, somewhat distorted on the graphic. Jean Monod came into the range 16.8 seconds down, and let's have a look now of what her time will be coming out. 26.9 seconds off the lead. Jean Monod down in terms of skiing as Gautian misses her first 3 targets. But what does that mean for Lou Jean Monod? Well, she's only 2.2 seconds down behind Hettisch Walz of Germany. Gautian, 70% hit rate today. But now Suvi Minkinen, she came into the range 6 seconds slower than Jean Monod, and now already has a miss. So not fighting for a podium, not closing the gap on the French women. Minkinen 9 out of 10, and look at those flags rattling. These are tough conditions today. now thrown down to fourth to make way for Lou Jean Monod of France. 22.9 seconds off the pace. And a welcome return to biathlon form after a disappointing 35th in Kontiolahti in the individual. Passler now coming into the finish, outside of a minute and counting. It's Minkinen at the 6.9 kilometer mark. Passler, 126 down, 13th. Minkinen, the Finn, second in this discipline. She finds herself down in 9th today, so the gap will open more to Lou Jean Monod. The best Swedish performance of the day, Elvira Öberg so far, still hanging on to 7th despite 2 misses. But there's Vabornikova in 7th. Ahead of Elvira Öberg, who's in 8th. At that time, 52.7 seconds. Elvira Öberg, 56.5. At the shooting range, that's closed nearly 20 seconds. So Elvira Öberg flying relatively to the Czechian. Now, Suvi Minkinen coming in to the finish line, fighting to retain her second place in the overall standings in the sprint. Well, she's not going to contend today for a podium, but it is going to be a top 10 at least so far. 9th place for the Finn. Well, that matches her mass start 9th of last week with a single penalty. She was off the pace on the ski speed with the 25th fastest ski speed, in fact, in the mass start. Vabornikova now, she is doing a great job, but losing time on the last lap. Vabornikova was in 7th at the 6.9 kilometer mark with Elvira Öberg closing in. Can she retain a gap? She's done it, but only by 0.2 of a second over Elvira Öberg. What a last 600 meters she has had. And a fantastic performance, top 10. She's had a 3rd, a 4th, and 2 5ths, but now she's got a 7th. Lydia Mettler of Switzerland could be the next biathlete to get all 10 targets down. Oh, look at that, absolutely fantastic. These are not conditions made for shooting. And yet, so many of these athletes demonstrating how they've come to be on these World Cup teams. Julia Kink now. Now, Esther Revolfa of Latvia, she comes in. And once again, an unbelievable superstar in the making. You can expect to see this name rising on the World Cup year on year. She's fighting for a top 10, 9th place. 1 minute and 5 seconds back. 9th place, the 20-year-old. Competed at the Winter Olympic Games, now Lampic for Slovenia. Sixteenth place, not a bad performance for her. 8 out of 10 on the day, but uncharacteristically not the fastest skier. 25 seconds down on Breza Boucher's time. Dolidovic. Coming in now for her first prone. But now Esterivova coming in towards the finish. She was 9th at the 6.9 kilometer mark. She had Kulm to contend with, the home favorite of Estonia. She needs to get in over the line inside 1 minute and 9 seconds. She's going to do it. And now Vofa crossing 1 minute and 7 seconds back. 9th place. Well, she's just come from the Youth Junior World Championships, where she claimed the victory in the sprint, the gold medal, Junior World Champion in the mixed relay, and silver medalist in the mass start 60.
So standings at the finish, Julia Simon, Pitozzi, Japonot, Hedvig Valls, Michelin, Knotten, Momorekova, Elina Öberg, Wolfa, and Susan Kuhl.
Well, there it is. The overall standings goes the way of Julia Simon of France, with Vitozzi in 2nd and Jean Monod in 3rd. Hedvig Valls of Germany off the podium by a frustrating just over 1 second. And Michelin down in 5th. Simon was not the quickest on the skis today. 11.6 seconds down. Much of that due to the fact her last lap was so quick, but her shooting was so fast. She gained 6 seconds on Vitozzi. So that speed on the range, the difference between a gold and a silver,
me suutsime lõpuni panna seda kütet hoida ja ma arvan, et Eesti laskesuusafännid, spordifännid siin on maksimumi endast andmas just nimelt igal päeval.
Well, now you can see a little bit of the course out here today. The Canadian going well in this last lap. This is the high point of the course. They loop back through the fields. And you can see the track is held up really well. The IBU doing all they can to preserve the conditions as best possible. But of course, only so much can be done when the temperature is over 10 degrees Celsius, 11.5. And now Bouvard of Belgium, 1 minute and 7 seconds down, 54th at the 4.4 kilometer mark. And of course, this field of 104 starters has seen everybody get underway. 91 have been and done the prone and stand. The remaining 12 yet to come to stand, but now Lydia Mettler, the last of the skiers to come through with the perfect 10 out of 10. One minute and 54.7 seconds down, getting into the top 40, but of course only the top 60 today will get to start in the pursuit competition tomorrow. So Julia Kink of Germany in 49th really has to attack now to make sure she stays within that time frame. Currently at the finish line, 60th place is held by 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Now, Yves Bouvard of Belgium is coming in to shoot stand. She's choosing to go right up into the middle of the shooting range. The wind, of course, impacting the athletes a little bit differently, depending on where they stand on the shooting range. .6 seconds. Good time to the first shot and plenty time between, but missing the third. Well, she sighed as if 4 wasn't great. In wind conditions like these, hitting 4 out of 5 is not an easy thing to do. As Julia Kink now finishing in 46th place, 2 minutes and 11 seconds down. She manages to find herself inside the time of Camille Benet of France, of Tjirkeide of Norway. Of course, the Norwegian, claiming the gold medal at the Olympic Winter Games, finds herself down in 48th now, and that really is a good perspective on biathlon and the unbelievable changes between one race to another. Lou Jean Monod finishing 35th in Conti-Lati last week. Now she finishes 3rd, back on top. The consequences of a miss really are enormous. Oh, the last shot not going down for Makarova there. It was quick shooting, 25.2 seconds to do it all. And there she is, Lou Jean Monod. Haribo. Well, that's the perfect advert for nutrition post-race, isn't it? The body's calling for sugar. It needs to be fed. And a well-earned Haribo after a brilliant performance and return to form, really solidifying her battle for the Crystal Globe in the sprint. But now we see Gro Randby of Norway with 4 mistakes, coming in 59th. Well, she could see herself bumped down out of the top 60, and if that is the case, that will be a tough one, or a tough pill to swallow. Well, we can see on the live cup, as the points are adapted, of course this is not official, but Lou Jean Monod in the sprint discipline now is 376 points. She is clear by not quite, but nearly 100 points. Meaning that if Minkinen was to win the race in Oslo, she would get 375 points. She would fall short of Lou Jean Monod's 376 points, meaning that the Crystal Globe will go to Lou Jean Monod whether she starts the race in Oslo or not. 90 points is the most points that can be gained in a single race. So, a fantastic performance from her today. Ziva Klemencic now of Slovenia in shooting stand, wearing bib 102, the second and last to go. 4 out of 5. A good recovery from an early miss and doing it in a good time. Now, those still to come into the shooting range as we see our Crystal Globe winner still navigating the changing pen area and awaiting the medal ceremony, which will start after the race. But now we have in the shooting range Daria Klimina, who is standing nearly face to face with Shauna Pendry of Great Britain, the left-handed shooter. Now both of the duo with a miss. Pendry going well with 4 hits out of 5, meaning whatever time Klimina has managed to gain on the Brit, she will lose 150 meters worth of skiing to her. Well, the finish line, nothing is changing. We still have Julia Simon in first place, Lisa Vitozzi in second place, and Lou Jean Minot in third. Hetty Schvaltz in fourth, and Michelon in sixth. Azimova, the next to get the perfect 10 out of 10, but losing time on the skis. She's outside of the top 60 today. The top 60, a tough one to make. You have to be inside of currently Lettinen's time, as Adzamova is not. Down in 65th, 2:53 back. Lettinen, 2 minutes 34 seconds, the time of the top 60 today. Natalia Kokogina, 3 minutes 40 back with 2 misses. Well, nobody out there threatening the top 40 at this point, with Benita Pfeiffer of Canada now approaching the 6.9 kilometer mark. She finds herself in 73rd. And just in ahead of Sletemark of Greenland and Vinkrakova of Czechia. The athlete, of course, who was part of the Olympic Winter Games relay team, which claimed 5th in Antolz. Eva Bouvard, now of Belgium, 50th. Fighting for that top 60, is looking strong, looking good now, but with one mistake, she is losing time on the top 60. As Kaljuma now coming in to great applause. The Estonian flags flying high. And inside, 4 minutes by 0.1 seconds. And now Pfeiffer coming in towards the finish. The Canadian wearing bib 95. In the back end of the starts, she's an Olympian. Competed in the sprint, pursuit, and relay at the Olympics, having not started the individual. She was 56th in the sprint, so a fantastic performance from her. Only missing one on that time. As Yves Bouvard now of Belgium on the home straight. (52nd), 2 minutes and 15 seconds down. So still out there we have Pfeiffer. Bouvard, Pendry, Charalampidou now of Greece, finding herself fighting to get in within 5 minutes of the leader Simon, fighting for a top 100 today, but looking really aggressive. That is lovely technique, great frequency, great tempo on a tough part of this course. Really battling it out, and a lot of these athletes are battling it out for their own results, their own performances relative to what they've achieved before. It's not always about a top 60, a top 10, a podium. It can sometimes be just to achieve a result better than the last. And it's great to see these athletes fighting so hard for the seconds that matter to them, that may appear less significant when we look at the overall crystal globes and the wins and the victories. Aliona Makarova now. Where's bib 99? She shot fast in the stand. She's not going to finish inside the top 60, but she does get in ahead of Tomasheva, who hit all the targets. Oh, there's a lot of athletes to get all 10 down. 14, 15 today so far. Oh, that is conclusive. Who have crossed the line. Now Charalampidou of Greece coming through. She won't get inside 5 minutes, but she really is attacking and fighting hard on this final stretch. Right to the line, 5 minutes and 4 seconds back, in ahead of the local Taliharm, Chevaux and Benet. Chilling. And now Moric of Croatia. She finds herself in 89th. 4 minutes and 4 seconds down. Well, surprising results today. Of course, we've already discussed that Chirkaida was 48th. Camille Benet finishing 47th, another surprise. But perhaps the most surprising for me was Batovska Fialkova, who's on great skiing form. The fastest skier in the individual in Kontiolahti, the fastest in the mass start. And I dubbed her for a podium today. But missing 3, finds herself 2 minutes and 4 seconds off the pace, so also not skiing on her best form today. Klemencic now of Slovenia, 84th position, 3:47 back. Now, Shauna Pendry of Great Britain coming in towards the finish line. A nice dynamic attack. Lives in France, trains in France. 7 out of 10. A talent from Great Britain. 12th place at the Youth Olympic Games. So really can perform at the top of her game. And now good to see her come across the line, 93rd, 4 minutes and 20 seconds back, with a trail of those following, 5:26 back for Dodivic and Klimina of Kazakhstan. And look at that, that's what biathlon does to you. The pain of the fight on the course.
World Cup win today for Julia Simon,
Well, there it is. The unofficial results. Julia Simon is in first place with Lisa Vitozzi in second place. And Lou Jean-Minot in third. Hetty Schwartz of Germany in fourth. And Michelin of France in fifth. Well, the prize-giving ceremony will be around the corner. Knotten, the last of them to make it into the flower ceremony, managing to get in ahead of Abornikova, the best of the Norwegians today, and Tandrevold, the second best. Missing 3, skiing fast. And of course, would you believe it, Breza Boucher, the fastest skier on the track, but she didn't manage to get the targets down, only hitting 7 out of 10, 1 minute and 11 seconds down. Other impressive performances on the skis today. Elvira Öberg in second. Tandrevold with the third fastest time, and Vitozzi only 7.2 seconds down.
Kui Siimer pani 15, siis Surak pani esikümne ja seda siis minut 9 kaotust eksimatult nii külm kui ka võitja Julia Simon. Nii et homme ma arvan, et saab üks vägevaid üldse laskesuusapidusid siin olema. Nii et täna saime siin, kui eile saime teha soojenduse, täna tegime peaproovi, siis homme paneme spordipea siin püsti. Well, here are the intermediate standings after 17 competitions on the Women's World Cup total score. Lou Jean-Minot, wearing the yellow bib, has now got a gigantic lead and has no pressure of having to defend that spot now. She is likely to be the overall Crystal Globe winner come the end of the season. And Minkinen in second, but she cannot be without anxiety, of course, because Magnussen is down in third, with Elvira Öberg and Hannah Öberg fourth and fifth. But in terms of the discipline standings, that is a similar story. Lou Jean-Minot, she's wearing the red, representing superiority in this discipline relative to the field. She's wearing the yellow for the overall World Cup standings. She is a master in biathlon. She'll be relieved to know that this year she doesn't quite have to fight to the very finish line for that Crystal Globe. And today, it was third for Lou Jean-Minot. And once again, do join us for the flower ceremony, which will be taking place shortly. And of course, do join us for the rest of the weekend, where we have the pursuit coming tomorrow, and then the mass starts happening on Sunday. Excuse me, the relays, the mixed relays and the single mixed relays. But Lou Jean-Minot, a masterful performance. She's not on the top of her game in terms of ski speed. Only 14.7 seconds off Breza Boucher's time. But Lisa Vitozzi shooting incredibly well, skiing incredibly well. 7.2 seconds off the pace, with all the targets going down apparently easily in a time of under 49
seconds, 49.8 to be precise. Vitozzi went 10 for 10, and she found herself in second. Well, Julia Simon, she started out very quick, second fastest first lap. Hit all the targets, hit them fast in 23.2 seconds. But then the pain hit her for lap 2, 21.4 seconds off the pace. Somehow still managing to hit all 5 targets and stand despite the wind in 20.6 seconds. And Julia Simon absolutely flying, managing to hold her ground and win 2.9 seconds in ahead of Vitozzi.
Julia, congratulations, your back-to-back win after Kontiolahti. Tell us a little bit about today's competition, especially taking into account these not very easy windy conditions at the shooting range. How did you manage it?
Yeah, today it wasn't easy. We had a lot of wind at zeroing, but I think during the race it was quite the same, so it was easy to manage, and yeah, I had a lot of fun when I come to the shooting range, just analyze the wind and then go, and for me it was okay today.
Not very often we see in the sprint when you can share the moment in the finish line of victory together with your friend and also rival who you were battling with. Tell us about this, how special was it to have this moment with Lisa, and about the battle on the final loop?
Yeah, that was a big battle on the final loop, and I think we didn't manage the race the same way. I started really fast and she finished really fast, so it was a big battle, and it's always really nice to fight against Lisa. She's a great opponent, really fast on the shooting range too, and yeah, she's also one of my friends, so I'm really happy to share the podium with her. It's always special.
Thank you so much, congrats.
Thank you.
After 6 competitions, Lujan Minot is at the very top of the discipline standings, just isolating the sprint competitions alone. Océane Michelon in 9th place. Julia Simon winning today, but in 8th overall in the sprint standings with 220 points, over 156 points behind Lujan Minot, who's at the top.
sprint competition in Otepää. Awards are presented by IU Executive Board Member Mr. Franz Seidler, Minister of Culture of the Republic of Estonia, Heidi Purga. Third place, representing France,
Lujan Minot for France, claiming the 3rd place today. But she knows that she has claimed that Crystal Globe in style for the sprint discipline. a return to form after a very short hiatus in Kontiolahti, where she did finish 35th in the individual. But a great day for the French woman, who can celebrate now so much about her career season. Lisa Vitozzi just managing to get into second place. It was a close battle. She planned her race strategically, paced it well, and opened up on the last lap. Shooting so quickly, 49.8 seconds to hit 10 out of 10. From rifle off to rifle on. Now Julia Simon claims the win today. 2.9 seconds in ahead of Lisa Vitozzi. Her second lap was super slow, at least relative to her first. And her last lap, 7.4 seconds off the pace. She did very well to get on top today, and much of that success is down to the fact she hit all 10 targets in 43.9 seconds. Absolutely rapid fire. She is a remarkable talent behind that rifle. Such extraordinary accuracy, precision, and timing. Julia Simon takes the win. Lisa Vitozzi in second and Lou Jean Monod in third. Janina Hettich-Walz for Germany takes fourth. Bumped down the podium one by one. Michelon, she takes fifth, and Knotten takes sixth. Good result for Knotten. Not inside the top 20 last week. Not inside the top 10 during the Olympics. So a good return to form from her. Hettich-Walz, this is now her second best result ever. The German having an absolutely fantastic day. And well, I thank you for joining us for this unbelievable race. We've got the pursuit competitions coming tomorrow and then the relays coming on Sunday. I've been Scott Dixon, it's been my pleasure, and I look forward to talking those races through with you then.